Welcome back to Chocozone. Also in this episode we talk about the relationship between farmers and chocolate makers. And this time we host a special chocolate in the world of the chocolate crafters, one that creates a great synergy with farmers. And also for this he has a great cocoa to work. He makes one chocolate that has won a very long number of awards. We are in Peru, and we are with a great friend of FPM that started a long time ago with us and is still with us. Anyway, just a second and you understand. Hello guys, welcome back to Chocozone podcast. In the last episode we have talked about the relationship between the cacao farmers and chocolate makers with Antonina Allegra in South Africa, and this time we go in the heart of cocoa, so where the cocoa arrive in the world, and we are in Peru with one of the best chocolate maker in the world, and I am very happy to have here Humberto Samir Giha. Humberto like me. Hello Humberto, how are you?
That's right, Humberto. How are you? So happy to be here with you in the Chocozone.
Hi, Humberto, Samir, how are you?
Very good, Giuseppe.
So
Excellent.
you are the owner of one of the most famous bean to bar chocolate in the world, but like we asked to everybody before, it is good if you introduce yourself, if you say your background, or what you were before to arrive in the chocolate market, and what have you done before and how you arrive on it. So this is time for you, please.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I grew up. I was born in Peru, but I grew up in school and college. I finished my studies in the United States, and that's why my English is the way it is. So I grew up in Massachusetts, which is the East Coast of the United States. And when I finished college, I came to Peru, and my business was in textiles. I did pretty well in textiles. I was doing well, and I wanted to invest in something different than textiles, because I figured, as an economics major, I studied economics, I thought that textiles in Peru would be going down, and rather chocolate or cacao would be going up. So my investment was in something I loved very much, which was chocolate. From when I was a kid, and with my daughters, I always talked about making chocolate and candy someday. So when the time came and I could invest, I did it in chocolate. And thank goodness Peru is center of origin of cacao. So we have a lot of varieties of cacao, very excellent quality. So for us and for me, getting into chocolate was almost natural, and something I ended up doing now 100%. I'm out of textiles and I'm 100% in chocolate since a couple years after I started.
I think Peru has one of the most impressive variables of cocoa. I mean, a lot of variety, many different kind of tastes and flavors. It's impressive. I was impressed the first time I visited Peru.
Yes, well, as you probably know, out of the 10 genetic clusters that they have discovered in the world, 6 of them are originating in Peru. So 6 out of the 10. So and there's still a lot more to discover. We make chocolate from cacaos that we don't know actually what they are yet, but they taste delicious. So there's a lot more to explore in Peru. Being the origin of cacao, it helps a lot, no?
And how did you get in contact with the cocoa and then you started making chocolate? The very first time. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember that when I first decided, I decided to invest in cacao and chocolate, but I started looking for machines. I didn't know anything about chocolate. I had not even seen a cacao tree.
Oh, really?
So I invested, and then I said I'm going to learn about this. But I did partner with Eduardo Lanfranco, who was already in the chocolate business. So I will have Eduardo come and say hello at one moment here, so you can see his face.
Sure, sure.
Did you know him well, Giuseppe? as
Yeah.
well. And so he already knew, and he was working with chocolate, and I was not. So uh, that's where I started just getting involved with the production. But I wasn't going to do it. I was going to let somebody else make it. But now, as you know, I'm already a chocolate taster. I'm graduated from the most advanced chocolate tasting course that there is in the world today. Um, and so I'm very much involved in chocolate and very much passionate about it, as you well know.
Yeah. Um, the chocolate makers has always a special relationship with the farmers, and so tell us something about how this relationship is developed over the years, and what did you learn from them? What they did learn from you also for your chocolate.
Excellent. Yes, actually, we have a real good relationship with the farmers. We began maybe because I wasn't an expert in chocolate. I didn't know about chocolate. I just used my um, thinking and reasoning of how to make the best possible chocolate. So by not being an expert and not knowing much, I said, okay, so let's, as my discussion with Eduardo be, okay, so obviously the most important ingredient in chocolate is cacao, right? We're talking about 70%, probably 80%, whatever your chocolate is going to make. So where's the best cacao? So in Peru, many people were talking in those days about cacao blanco from Piura, so the white cacao from Piura. And so, okay, so let's go and find out more about this white cacao that's so famous. So then we went and I explored and learned a little bit more what he knew and what other and friends knew about cacao. But I said, but we don't know enough in Peru. We don't have really at that time many experts. So I started asking, who's an expert? Well, we know these people. There's this a person that comes from Venezuela, an engineer. She's Gladys Ramos, an amazing lady. She's one of the disciples of Darren Suka. So let's see. Can we bring her here? Yeah, well, let's call her. So we got a hold of her, and I hired her, and she began to work for us for a year and a half to teach us about cacao. So we didn't go into making chocolate like most people do, just make a phone call, order cacao, watch a video about how you make it and roast cacao and grind cacao and whatnot. No, we first invested 1 year and a half in knowing about cacao, knowing about this specific origin, how to get it from the tree to the bar. So this is where the relationship with the farmers really begins, because we meet the farmers, we see what grows on their property, and we find the plantations where there's more white cacao, all white cacao. So when we make a Pura chocolate bar, we're making not a Pura just origin, because Pura you can find other types of cacaos. Okay, we make Pura from pure white cacao. So the flavor comes from this bean, and we made really good friends in this, and we are actually 12 months of the year in Pura, 12 months of the year in the areas where we work cacao. So we don't just make a phone call to order cacao in the cacao season. We make it to we order it every time. We live in the area, not me, but our people. So we have people there all the time, 12 months of the year, and this is very important.
But that does a chocolate maker say something about, for example, fermentation? I mean, can a chocolate maker affect that process, even if it's part of the cocoa farmer, But do you have any particular request that you made to the chocolate farmers? I mean, you are making something that I don't like in fermentation. I would like to improve this or that.
Well, that's a very good question, Giuseppe. You know why? Because we actually do our fermentation and our drying. We do the post-harvest. Okay, so when we take when we one of the reasons why Cacaosuyo probably has great success is because we found out in this first year and a half study that yes, you start with a good genetics of cacao, but you have to have ripe and healthy fruit. It's not just the cacao genetics. So genetics is important. Ripe, healthy fruit is important. A fruit that is not ripe, is green, is going to have a bitter taste when you make the chocolate if it's green. If it's rotten fruits, you can have poor fermentation process. You can have bad off flavors. So very important, the quality of the fruit. Okay, the genetics, then the quality, and then we take care of the opening with the farmers, and we do the fermentation and drying. This is where the quality of the chocolate comes from, the bean. So if the bean is not prime, it's like you're going to make a wine from green grapes. I mean, not ripe grapes or rotten grapes. That's not going to be a good wine.
I see.
Okay,
I see.
so it kind of goes to one. I know the things you have in mind is what a big difference between a bean to bar maker or a special bean to bar maker like we are in Cacaosuyo, where we take care of the whole process so that we make sure you have a high quality cacao, and the relationships with farmers are very important for this.
Yeah. I remember one of your conferences. I mean, you're always in conference because you know a lot about chocolate and cocoa beans. I remember one, I think it was back in 19, something like that. You were talking about a relationship that you are, or a research probably, that you were having with the university and farmers, and you were looking for some sort of black bean. Everybody was crazy for the white beans, and you were at the opposite, looking for a black bean. Did it develop it? Because you told me that it was not, usable for chocolate in that very moment.
This has not since. Okay, I'll go to that. Yes, in actually, there's a study by Russian International. Everett Thomas is leading these studies. I've asked him for the papers, but they're gonna have a few months down the road before they get it. But he at the ICCO convention a couple years ago mentioned that he believes that all fine aroma cacao originates actually in this Cusco region.
Okay.
Okay, so and if we go to this region, we can really be amazed by the cacao, because there's all colors of cacao, but all colors of the seeds, all types of cacao. Genetics are very many. A lot of people talk about, for example, chuncho cacao. Okay, this is the famous chuncho cacao from Cusco. But chuncho cacao refers to cacaos from the area. It doesn't mean that it's one genetics. So you can find chuncho cacaos that are this big, are very small, a little bit bigger than an egg or an egg. In fact, there's one that's called eggshell cacao, cáscara de huevo. And this eggshell cacao, it's called that not because of the size. It's the husk of this cacao, or the shell, the fruit itself is so you can break it between two fingers. And
wow.
everybody that knows cacao, you need to get smash it to break open, or cut it with a machete or whatever. So it's very difficult to open. But this one is eggshell, it's very thin. So it's obviously very different genetics than the bigger ones. All chuncho cacaos do have yellow fruit, but the different sizes, different shapes, different flavors. There are a lot of studies that have been done by different people. Bertus Esques, very famous from
Yeah.
Dutch, has always walks around with so many different chuncho cacaos. He says, this one tastes like watermelon, this one tastes like orange, this one. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah. I remember he made an analysis of the chuncho cacao in one of those conferences. He were talking about 19 different kind of fruit flavors, 40 something, vegetable flavor, or it was, crazy. It was a full of.
He's a total fun guy. In fact, he says, you want to see what flavors the chuncho cacao has, and he takes a picture. He has a picture of a whole a fruit market.
Yeah. Yes, flowers. It was the flavor of flowers, fruits, everything in that bean. It seems that the word was exactly in that bean.
We'll see what the findings Everett has from these biodiversity studies. But going to your question, there are so many varieties that there's one that has a very small cacao seed, and it looks black. It's probably very, very, very violet, like a lot of the violet cacaos, but it's so dark, it's black, but it's very small, and the fruit is also very small. But there's so many different ones. We're discovering a lot of different cacaos. There's one that I find very interesting now that we're going to do later, but it's another part of the jungle. That's that's got these really creamy flavors. It's actually a Theobroma subincanum, which is different than the Theobroma cacao. But there's these cacaos and cacao types that are really amazing, that we have so much to explore yet in Peru. You probably do know, or you might not know, but Peru is the most agrobiodiverse country in the world. So we have a lot still to discover, and not only in cacao but in other fruits. So I think it's we what we set out as Cacaosuyo to do was through chocolate offer an adventure in flavors of our different cacao. So I think we still have a lot to show and to offer, and not only us, since Cacaosuyo came out and we started working with FBM. Now everybody in Peru works with FBM, and everybody in Peru.
You are a sort of opinion leader. Yes, that's true. That's true. Anyway,
we're
just also for this, what is the difference between the bean to bar chocolate maker, the artisan of chocolates, like Cacaosuyo, but also other, and the big companies? It is a difference in relationship with the farmers. It is difference in sale policy, in the sales channels, or I don't know. Also in the product, maybe according to you, what is the most important difference that you can say, that you can see?
Well, evidently, the most important difference is obviously the quality of the product, and at the end, the price of the product. So what's in between? Okay, no, how do we get to that price, and why is our chocolate from artisans really worth the flavor? We have seen this obvious now in, for example, craft beer. Craft beer, it's about the quality of the ingredients, and you can definitely taste, a regular, a beer that we had once, when we were young, considered to be, oh, this is a great beer, this from Holland, or from Germany, or from wherever, from Italy. But when you try now what is not industrial, what is anybody's artisanal beer or craft beer, is much better. And the same effect happens with the chocolates, because artisan of chocolate wants the best ingredients. So he's going to look for the best origins, different origins. I mean, it could be from Vietnam, it could be from Mexico, it could be from Peru, it could be from Colombia, from Venezuela, all different. So we're about the adventure of flavor. So as coffee also becomes this way, wine a long time ago, we always say that in the past it was like red wine, white wine, rosé. But now everybody's like, have from Bordeaux, or maybe Shiraz from Australia, whatever. So we have sophisticated flavors, and what a craft chocolate maker does is looking for the best ingredients, and it's not just bulk. It's really about looking for the best. So the best ingredients cost more.
Yeah.
The care of better ingredients for us, when our price came out, it wasn't about the fact that we were just paying a lot more for the cacao. It was about we're investing a lot in having this cacao well fermented and well dried. To have 12 months of the year facilities in parts of Peru, when you only harvest 2 or 3 months of the year, is very expensive. Yeah. So, but the quality that we have, we need to do this work. So it's not just about ordering cacao, it's about, and allowing this for at least for our brand Cacaosuyo, is allowing the cacao to express itself through the chocolate and not transforming it with roasting or the grind, whatever, or punching. It's about maintaining the quality. And this is where it's important, and this is where the tools we have need to do just enough work and let the cacao show itself.
And
That's
talking about the sides of the company. Okay, so you are artisan, but you are not as small as you were at the beginning. Okay, you are a lot bigger than before. I guess at a certain point, any entrepreneurs get to the point where he has to upgrade everything. I mean, the organization, the productivity, the labor, the amount of production, the chocolate. When you are in that very moment, okay, which are the questions, the ideas that you have, and which are also the fears? I mean, you are upgrading, you are risking a little more. When you get to that point, what did you think?
There's a big risk when you grow, and actually, if in chocolate, there's no middle size almost. I mean, you have bean to bar machinery, and then you have large machinery. It's hard to be something in the middle, and then it means you have more people, more families that depend on you. So there's a lot of risk, but the good thing about it that you can be still true to the craft, okay? Because even though a machine gets larger, or you have 5 more machines or whatever, the craft remains the same. You still have to have the same, look for the same quality of cacao, because it's not about the size of the machine, it's about the quality of the ingredients and what you do with this. So it is riskier, but it's good that we can grow, because everybody can have a possibility of beginning smaller and then having something to search. I know that there are chocolate makers that have started with a little 2-kilo machine, right? And so that it can happen. You can make chocolate that way, but you need to grow. And if you want to make a living from it, if you just want to make it for fun at home, then that's a different story. But if you want to make a living, and we want to do that, we want to grow to the point where all these families that come from us have, can feed their families, do well, and also that we can create an impact with the farmers. If you're buying very small amounts from them, yes, you're paying them a lot more than the bulk guys, but you're not that important. So to make a real impact with the small farmers, you need to grow as well. No?
Yeah, back in the production of bean to bar, where are the critical issues that any chocolate maker could find in the organization of the production of chocolate?
The most important is the quality of the cacao, and just the fact that you have an origin that is well known. Whether it be Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, whatever, doesn't mean that you're getting good cacao. The genetics, like I said, can be good, but I think I always say, you can't make chicken soup out of chicken. I didn't finish that one, but you get it. So you have to start with high quality ingredients to get good, and this is the most critical part. The machines can be different machines in general. I mean, some people grind with different with beads. Some people grind with a conch. That's not the most important. The most important thing is that you take care of those ingredients. That's the craft, the designing of the craft, and then what you do with it can give you your signature flavor, if you will. But it's really about for us, it's about the cacao.
Okay, Cacaosuyo is known everywhere. I mean, I guess you sell in a lot of different countries. Okay, talking about the different. Can you talk about the difference between countries, markets, according to the average taste of the consumers, and also where do you sell more or less, and why? If you have an idea about that.
Okay, well, as far as taste go, like for our local country, in Peru, they're still not as sophisticated. The growth of the market in general is for high percentage cacaos. We probably sell more milk chocolate here. We have our Pura milk, which is a world champion, but in Europe, it's definitely dark.
Yeah.
And in Europe, it's dark. I mean, very, very little milk, even though we have a good one and everything. No, dark in Europe. The United States, we've just started, actually, after many years. I grew up in the United States, but I wanted to make sure that we could supply them well enough before I actually started, because the market is really big. So we're doing well in the United States, but since we're in the craft side, it's also more about where the market is growing, which is in the dark. Okay.
And you can find there more competitors than in other countries, because in some extent they It was the country where everything started, really, no?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot more competition in the United States for bean to bar. It's in Europe, the market is huge, and there's a huge amount of competition, but it's harder for you to get, maybe harder for get identified in some ways. We started in Europe more than any other place. My first visit was obviously Salon du Chocolat in Paris, and that's where we became known initially. And so we've been in a lot of countries in Europe, on and off. It seems to me more steady, the work in the United States, at least because we have probably a good distributor, and I have a lot of good hopes for that market. But they sell from every country in the world, and they have a lot of local bars as well.
Yeah. You mentioned about Salon du Chocolat. There is also a very important exhibition in Lima, the Salon du Cacao y Chocolate. I've been visiting that exhibition since 2015. We met there the first time. And how is, not considering the 2020, okay, that's been a very bad year, okay, but I remember the growth of that exhibition was impressive. I mean, people coming from not only South and Central America, but also from United States and Europe. So it was extremely expanding. It was, I think, in that area, one of the most successful. I mean, if I have to suggest to some chocolate makers in Europe or in Italy, go and exhibit in, I would say, Seattle and Lima. Okay, how is now? I know that you are very involved in the exhibition and your country. I mean, you are strongly identified in your country and everything that is concerned to the Peru. How is going?
Yeah, I mean, the Peru Salon is a very good one, and one of the reasons why I believe is because a lot of the people come here to look for the cacao. It's not although chocolate is very important and it's probably the local draw, but I think internationally the draw to Peru is more about the cacao. And we have good events. In fact, it's so big that it was the first International Chocolate Awards independent country contest, right? So we're very. But it's a lot about the cacao for the people that come from other countries, and we get to meet great people that come and to Peru for that show, obviously. But the local people, it's about the chocolate.
Yeah, I remember that in 5 years they changed 3 locations, bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, this is an evidence that things are. I mean, that people wants to visit and to exhibit in that show. Definitely.
Back to Cacaosuyo, I don't know how many international chocolate award you have.
Right.
I know that each final you go a lot of
16,
time,
20,
to take it. What is the bestseller chocolate you have with Cacaosuyo? I have here, for example, Lacuna, and but
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
the Pura.
yeah,
It's the
Pura.
Pura.
So what is the bestseller? The first free bestseller of Cacaosuyo, and also in one of the last episode with Sharon Terenzi, the chocolate journalist, we have talked about you. She said she said that the founder of Cacaosuyo could be her husband because she fallen in love with your chocolate. So tell
I
me.
think the Pura is
Yeah.
the one that she preferred.
Yeah. So
She mentioned I remember her mentioning recently also that one of her first loves was our chocolate. I know Lacuna was one of her favorite, Lacuna and Pura Select. Actually, Lacuna is still holding the best dark chocolate in the world. The best chocolate in the world today is still Lacuna. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a world championship since the last one selected. Actually, in Firenze, Italia, was the tastings for the 2019 awards, and Lacuna was the best dark chocolate. So we have 119 international chocolate awards. I don't know how many golds we have, but I can tell you that our Lacuna is in the top category is the dark gold, and we have many golds for milk, our milk chocolate, Pura Milk. So that's. I mean, it's. I think it's important. The awards are very important for us, and I think it's very important for a lot of chocolate makers, because we try to be better every year. We try to offer something new. We try to keep quality up, because our bars that won the awards are exactly the same bars that go to the market. We don't. We take our bars out of stock, out of the warehouse, and that's what goes to the competition. So we actually, that we're happy about that, because we've got to the point where we know that every bar we make has to be the same quality.
Listen, just a quick tip to the new chocolate makers. The awards that you won, you are, I think, for what I know, you are one of the best winning company. I mean, you mentioned how many, but it is worthwhile. I mean, there is some good point on getting awards in, I don't know, marketing, image, or sales. Does it increase sales? Does it make you rich?
The awards you get zero money for. So, but it's like I said, it's an incentive to be better. It does help in the marketing side. I think it's important. But I've seen many excellent chocolate makers that don't win awards, and their chocolate is awesome. They don't win all the time. I think many times it depends on the tasters in the country. I believe that Lacuna was an award winner because the tastings were in Florence, and the Italians have a taste for something strong, something expressive, like a ristretto coffee. You don't want anything watered down. So Lacuna is a chocolate that has a lot of punch, and sometimes I've had, like, from somebody in America say, "Oh, this is like spicy,"
Yeah.
and in Italy they go, "Oh, I love this,"
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
make I want to make my ice cream from this Lacuna. I want to so it'll depend on who the tasters are. Obviously, the main group is always there, the main group of tasters. But depends if it's in the United States, or the tastings are in Italy, or tastings are in the UK, or whatever. You're gonna have added tasters that will obviously impact on the final selection of the winner. So I think part of the reason why we got that, I mean, the flavor of our chocolate favored us in Italy that year, and it'll change, but it doesn't make you money, but it can give you help. I mean, when you offer somebody chocolate that's best in the world, it's curious. Oh, I'd like to taste this one.
Sure.
So
it is worthwhile. For a chocolate maker, it's worthwhile to go and send their product to the competition and win some awards. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, especially if it's pushing you to make something better. If it pushes us to discover new origins as well. So I think in the next time around, we're always offering something new. So these Lacuna and Pura are the ones that, last year we in the last contest, Last Americas, Pura Select was the number one in the Americas, but and I think in the Americas was like silver or bronze, the Lacuna. But in the world finals that same year, it was Lacuna gold and Pura Select silver. So it depends on the tastings, but it's good to have winners. It's good to have desire to be better and to discover new flavors.
We are in the end of our episode, and like in all our episode, I asked to you the main question: how do you see you in 2030, and how do you see the bean to bar chocolate market in the world within the next 10 years? Tell us.
I believe I see us promoting more the sustainable side of chocolate. Maybe myself more advocating for that than even promoting our own company. I think our own company will be more known, well known, probably making more chocolate for sure. And this is how I think it will have to be. The whole world will be more into sustainable chocolate. The pricing in general is going to be higher of chocolate for sure, and not just because of inflation. It's going to be more expensive because there's going to be paid laborers working all over the world to harvest cacao and to make chocolate, of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
We thank you a
Samir.
lot for your time, and
It's been a great pleasure. We hope to meet you again, maybe in Salon
We will
Cacao,
see.
or you maybe are going to visit FBM
Yeah.
sooner or later.
Yes, I'd like to be there soon. And I think everybody is yearning to have personal contact again with
Yeah.
with their friends and people we know, and have live meetings and see the new machines live, direct, not only video, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So
Thank you very much.
I do want to thank you, and I owe a lot to the work I've done with FBM from the beginning. I had a lot of help from you guys, and I suspect I will keep needing your help. We'll talk about what I need after we hang up, because I do need.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye.